All right, we're recording now, Frank.
Thank you. See you in an hour. One, two, three, four, five. Tell me to wait 5 seconds before I start. Okay, here we go. Psychic Frank's Mystery School. I'm here the first and the third Friday of every month, thanks to Bayvac and SF Commons and the city of San Francisco, I guess. Okay, where do we start? Oh yeah, today's date would be a good place to start. Okay, let's fade away. Fade away. Oh, it feels good to be back in the studio. Neptune is going at the end of this month. Today's the 21st. Happy spring. Spring has sprung yesterday. And Neptune, spirituality, Neptune, drugs, altered states of consciousness. We're going to talk about all the domains of Neptune. Goes out of Pisces, where it's like 29 degrees right now. The anorexic number, where 29 of any degree is where the yucky stuff comes up to be purged. You know. Excuse me, it made me belch just thinking about that. With all the stuff that's coming up now, it's like, wow, hot lava. Yeah, so what's going on is on Neptune, on the... take a breath here. Okay, what's going on the end of this month, Neptune on the 30th of March, 2025, will enter Aries. Here it is. It enters Aries, 5 o'clock a.m., Sunday the 30th. 30 days have September, April, June, and November. So there's 31 days on Monday the 31st. So yeah, that's a big deal. Okay, so it was April 13th. The Civil War started April 12th, 1861, and on April 13th, 1861, the very day after the Civil War started, Neptune entered Aries. So if you can't say, well, the last time Saturn entered Aries, or the last time Venus or Mars or Jupiter or even Neptune, Uranus for that matter, I don't think there's anybody living today. I know there's not anybody living today. So as I said, the Civil War started, and it just happened to be Thomas Jefferson's birthday, the 12th or the 13th of I think it was the 13th of the 13th of April 1861. So that's a big deal. And I found this on Haight Street. There's this Anarchy bookstore. I don't know if that's the name of it. Obviously, you can't read this. But it's a picture of Terence McKinnon. It's right on the corner of Haight and Masonic towards downtown. It says, if the words life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness don't include the right to experiment with your own consciousness, then the Declaration of Independence isn't worth the hemp it was written on. Our forefathers, I don't believe, ever conceived the idea that cannabis wouldn't be like hemp, wouldn't be, There's actually a talk now on YouTube. Actually, Pam Gregory was mentioning that, and this is what he looks like. He's Terence McKenna, McKenna. Pam Gregory, astrologer out of the UK, was talking about they're going to put, they're working on putting, they're not thinking about it, they're already preparing to use hemp to thrust our rockets out of space. There's no stopping NASA. They're going to forget it. We're going to talk about that. Oh boy, there's so much I want to cover. I have to be here now. Okay, got plenty of time. We just started. Okay, checking out the time there. Okay, so It's the year of the snake. I'm a psychic healer who uses astrology, numerology, and the tarot cards. And the year of the snake, and my guides were telling me, because I don't know much about Chinese astrology, but I know a lot about other things. What was I saying there? So, if a snake, I have it written down, but I know it by heart. If a snake will die if it doesn't shed its skin, and so will a human being if it doesn't change its thoughts. Change like Muhammad Ali said, if you still beliefs are the same as if you're 50 and your beliefs are the same as when you were 20, you threw away 30 years of your life. Your beliefs are supposed to evolve. Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, God bless him. He left too soon. Yeah, now, so Neptune entered my 12th house. Saturn, my 12th house is very compact. It's got an intercepted constellation Aries, and I have my Taurus moon and then a Taurus rising. So Neptune is going to enter, already last week, entered my 12th house, and will leave in 2046. Now, I was born in 1948, so I will be 98 years old. And I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. I hope they save this tape. Yeah, I'm in perfect shape. I'm 70. I'll be 77 this year. And, and I'm feeling very good. Yeah, because it's a purification process now. See, that's what this Saturn in, this Neptune in Aries is all about. And there's this, I put it in here. Oh, okay. 1 second while I grab this. I found this astrologer. His name is Christopher, Christopher, Rehnquist or something like that. He's easy to find. And wow, he's Christopher Renstrom. Renstrum. You know, when I start this, first thing I should say when I sit down here is grab a pencil and paper, because there'll be a lot of dates and names you might want to write down. That's one of them, Christopher Renstrom. And he actually has several videos out. I just found him a couple of weeks ago, and he's blowing me away. I actually, a few months ago. Time, what a concept, huh? Okay, so Neptune in Aries, Christopher Renstrom, and he has another one, Neptune in Aries, through the signs, 12 signs of the zodiac, and he, whether it's fire, earth, wind, fire, water, how could you best use this Neptune in Aries? Because Aries is all about starting things up. You know, it's impatient, like springtime. Flowers the minute the first inkling of spring happens, buds start happening. You see little sprouts come out of the ground. They're just itching. So we're all like chomping at the bit, so to speak. Come on now. There's this whole, it's eclipse month. So there's like a whole slurry right now of, they call it not a slurry, stellium of planets in Aries and asteroids, dwarf planets and whatnot. So, check out Pam Gregory if you're really into astrology. I use astrology, and I always talk about the most basic. What's the gorilla in the room? The 900-pound gorilla in the room that you need to know about. So that's why we're talking about Neptune, because it's there's what's going on in San Francisco is this drug thing going on. You know. I found, I want to talk a lot about, because I got to slow down, man. Okay, there's so much I have. I'm not going to get it all done today, but I just want to, I really want to get on Laurie's, Daniel Laurie, because, he's fallen in with the wrong crowd. He's buddied up with, nothing personal, Scott Wiener. I'm not going to make fun of your name. I'm an adult. But come on, man. Alcohol. We're never going to lose alcohol. I dawned on me the other day, sports. I mean, it's so ingrained in our culture. It's been ingrained in the world's culture. Well, not in the Middle East, and they've been hash heads for a long time. But, you know, the Egyptians, the water was so pure, so bad. The only way you could drink water, get water into your body without dying, was beer. So that's, they were juice heads. And they say a lot of that oblong head came from some kind of disease from alcohol gives your brain. Alcohol is a very effective dissolving agent. It dissolves families, marriages, friendships, jobs, bank accounts, and neurons. But never problems. Yeah, problems never, alcohol, never, I don't know, anybody said alcohol solved a big problem for me, unless you want to die a horrible death. The the WHO, the World Health Organization, I have it written down here, has made a study in 2022, the autumn of 2022, and it's only and every study since then has even strengthened what they found. No amount of alcohol is all right for the human body. It takes paint off of cars, man. You know, I'm not going to be one of those sober people, but I wouldn't be here now if I hadn't sobered up. I haven't sobered up. I want to definitely turn you guys on to Camus, Camus. You don't. It's French, so you don't say the S there now, and because he says a lot about what I want to cover today. About, here it comes, mindfulness in plain English. BHANTEGUNARATANA. Guantanana. Yeah, it's literally, this book is the Bible of mindfulness. The Mindfulness Revolution. It's with over 250,000 copies sold. Mindfulness in plain English, one of the most influential books in the burgeoning field of mindfulness, and the timeless classic introduction to meditation. This is a book that people read, love, and share. It's a book that people will talk, write about, and reflect on, and return over and over again. Yeah, it came out in it was released in 2011. And I remember I bought it around 15 years ago at the garage, the public library. They still have their sales every Wednesday, but now the books are like $5, $10. They used to be $1. So I grabbed this, and there was a lot underlined, so I obviously read it way back, and then I put it on a shelf and then got busy with everything because it was in time for me to comprehend mindfulness, although I refer to it all the time about without mindfulness, you're like a heartless zombie, you know, a walking corpse. Mindfulness is the root of the dharma of all, every spiritual, you know, it's the big thing, being mindful. Okay, and we're going to talk about that. There's some more. I'm looking for Camus here because I already started, and we're not going to leave this until I know it's right here in my hand. Yeah, as I said, it's worth repeating. It's worth repeating because a lot of people didn't watch the show a couple of months ago when I was talking about in a 9-year 2025 in numerology, you reduce everything to one digit. And everything that's going on now in America and hence the world politically is what you should not be doing in a 9-year. You could Google up 9 personal year, but I have a really good book that I've been using for the last 40 years. It's very mysterious. Everything's mysterious that comes to me. A mystic isn't a special kind of human being, but every human being is a special kind of mystic. With Neptune in Aries now, a lot of people's kundalinis are waking up. I mean, my kundalini woke up around 8 years ago when Uranus was on my moon, my Taurus 12th house moon, and it took around 9 months, 3 different times. It was this heat went everybody has a different experience, but up to then, I had believed that Kundalini, active Kundalini people were like Sri Aurobindo, mystics from the far, mountains of India and the Himalayas there. Bhutanist stuff. I didn't realize that, I actually talked to a friend of mine from the mystery school I went to. I told her what was going on. I said, had 3 experiences like this. And she immediately said, oh, it's your Kundalini, Frank. She said, well, yeah, the third time it happened, I was in the kitchen. It was like 4 a.m. I was getting a glass of water, and all of a sudden I said, oh, not again. And I just shut off everything, and I went into my bed and got to like a fetal position, and I just started, I believe what this guy says, and I asked for help from my guides, and all of a sudden somebody put an ice pack in back of my head. And then I woke up, and that's when I called this friend of mine up in Oregon, and I explained to her what was going on, and she knew exactly what it was. This is it. A-H, the perfection of wisdom, discourse in one letter. So, as I said, Pam Gregory, Kathy Rose, a lot of astrologers, females, of course. And of course, I haven't heard this Christopher guy. I just found him last month or so. He's a couple of months ago, but everybody's talking about, third eyes opening. This is an amazing, of course, there's other things going on. Uranus is is 23 now, Taurus, but in a few months, Uranus will be going into, leaving Taurus and going into, oh, my mind's a blank now. Gemini. So, okay, so it's a purification time now. Okay, so nine personal year. Nine personal year. This is a year where you can acquire mastery, learn to control your lower instincts. Okay, we're going to talk about that later. Okay, put that over here. Okay, that's another thing. Okay, the mirror of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the root of the Dharma. It is the body of practice. It is the fortress of the mind. Lack of mindfulness will allow the negative forces to overcome you. Without mindfulness, you will be swept away by laziness. Lack of mindfulness is the creator of evil deeds. Without mindfulness and presence of mind, nothing can be accomplished. Lack of mindfulness piles up poop, doo-doo. Without mindfulness, you sleep in an ocean of urine. Without mindfulness, you are like a heartless zombie, a walking corpse. Practicing mindfulness awareness is how we develop insight and self-realization. Whether we are meditating or washing our laundry, or me picking up bird crap off the floor, the more fully engaged in simply doing what we are doing, and the more awareness and insight we bring to bear upon it, the more we get done. Spiritually speaking, I remember, 40 or 30, it could be around 30-something years ago, this woman came to see me and had such an amazing session with me. She couldn't wait to go home and tell her boyfriend. And I said to her, she was talking about her boyfriend, and I said, well, hurt people hurt people. And she says, yeah, he was hurt as a child, and see, now I know heal people, but I didn't know the second part of that saying way back. I just learned that second part not too long ago. So anyway, he came to see me, and boy, he was a nice guy, but I told right off the bat, I knew he had a real chip on his shoulder. He was trying to hide it, but I could see this guy was angry. And I just looked right up at him, and I said, well, let's get this started. I said, what do you feel? Life's like a prison? Like this is a prison sentence? And he says, yeah, wow, you're good. I just said that to my girlfriend this morning. And she had never mentioned that he had said that to her. We were pretty much strangers. And I said, well, learn a trade. Learn a trade. If you're in prison, learn a trade. Okay, so when you get this book on mindfulness, if you're pretty adept at meditation and all that, you might want to just jump right to chapters 13, 14, and 15. And I'm going to get to I underlined a couple of things there. 13 is mindfulness. And he goes on about the English translation of mindfulness in Pali, the Pali, whatever, Pali Gita there. Sati is sati, S-A-T-I. What is that? It can be no precise answer, not in words. Words are devised by symbolic levels of mind. They describe those realities which was symbolic thinking deals. Mindfulness is pre-symbolic. It is not shackled to logic. Nevertheless, mindfulness can be experienced. Like when this book fell off, literally, I was going through and this book just literally, I don't think it literally fell off, but my body just grabbed this book off the shelf. I hadn't even forgot I had it. That was mindfulness right there. When you start really getting into it, you realize all these times, it was mindfulness. It was like one mind, there is one mind, universal mind. And that's what it is now, We're, I get ahead of myself, but bear with me here. Nevertheless, mindfulness can be experienced rather easily, even though it has no words. Then he says it can be described as long as you keep in mind that the words are only fingers pointing at the moon. They are not the moon itself. The actual experience lies beyond words and above symbols. Mindfulness could be described in completely different terms than will be used here. Each description could still be correct. Mindfulness is a subtle process that one of these lifetimes you're going to get it. Hopefully it'll be this one. If not, it'll be another one. So, as I said, I got to get this out. I'm not going to interrupt myself anymore. I'm so into it now. Mindfulness is a subtle process that you are using at this very moment. The fact that this process lies above and beyond words does not make it unreal. Line, quite the reverse. Mindfulness is the reality that gives rise to words. The words that follow are simply pale shadows of a reality. So it is important to understand that everything that follows here is an analogy, A-N-A-L-O-G-Y, analogy. It is not going to make perfect sense. It will always remain beyond verbal logic, but you can experience it. The meditation technique called V-I-P-A-S-S-A-N-A, Vipassana, insight, it's parentheses, was that introduced by the Buddha about 25 centuries ago, is a set of mental activities specifically aimed at experiencing a state of uninterrupted mindfulness. That's bliss in my book. When you first become aware of something, there is a fleeting instant of pure awareness just before you conceptualize the thing, before you identify it. That is a state of awareness. Ordinarily, this state is short-lived. It is that flashing split second and just in front of you when your eyes are on the thing, just as you focus your mind on the thing, just before you objectify it, clamp it down on it mentality, and surrogate it in with the rest of existence. It takes a place just before you start thinking. I got to share this. I go to Rainbow Grocery religiously, and I always take this route that goes past the Eagle Bar on Folsom Street, and there's this little park, because Rainbow Grocery is on the other side of all the traffic, and they put a park there. It's like this little park. It's pretty. It's not a sit-down park. It's just for plants. So especially in the summer, I'll be walking by, and as I cross there, I always have to stop for a second and just dig it. It's just this little piece of heaven right in front of this gay bar, and there's no traffic really going around. There's on either side. There's roads. I think it's 11th and 3rd and 12th or something. And then I'll see, all of a sudden I'll find myself, wow, like 10, 15, 20 minutes went by because I saw a bee. And then I was just taking in this whole ecosystem, this whole universe was happening. There were butterflies, and it was just amazing. It was like life, human life. This planet is not, Earth is not a platform for human life. It is a living being. We're not on it, but part of it. Its health is our health. So if we don't shape up, and we're doomed. You dig what I'm saying? It's an Italian word. It goes, capiche? The mobsters use it. I imagine Donald Trump, one of his, he doesn't have any Italian mobsters, but I'm sure his mobsters are all, oh God. Yeah. Yeah, Uranus, the planet of symbolism, the planet of, is very strong right now, and it's the awakener. And she's only got a few more months, and then she's going to go into Gemini. He, rather, is going into Gemini. It's all about Kundalini energy. So if you have anything Taurus in your chart, you're either something's going on. If you're getting headaches, you're probably fighting the Kundalini energy. Okay, let's get back to this. Okay. It takes place just before you start thinking about it, before your mind says, "Oh, it's a dog," or that flowering, soft flower, focused moment of pure awareness is mindfulness. That's what's happening when I'm grooving on these things in the park. I mean, it happens all over the city. I mean, wherever I go. I mean, thank God I'm at a state in my life now where I don't have to go out and do anything. Yeah. I've got to exist and stuff, but everything I do is, a joy, because I'll be 77. So many times I'll be watching The Price is Right or something, and someone's celebrating their birthday and they're 60, and I'll go, holy, 60, man. Oh, well, we're all on a different trip. That flowering, it keeps me humble, okay, the flowering, well, Uranus will, that's what's going on with Daniel Laurie and Wiener. They're one's a little older than the other. I think Wiener's actually older than Laurie, or I don't know. The fact is, in the 40s, there is when early 40s was when they used to call it a midlife crisis. That's where the guy gets the girlfriend, or anything you suppressed or didn't do for work or marriage or something, and you really, really wanted to do it, like get a sports car, let your hair grow out, you do it. It's called a midlife crisis. But now people are living a lot longer. I'm looking at my third Saturn return. That happens every 29 years, 29, 59, 89. So something like that. And I believe that's what's going on with these guys. Maybe because they went to law school, or for whatever reason, they never got to booze it up and hang out in the club scene or whatever, and that's why they're going to make San Francisco. There's a song on the YouTube. You can get it. It's an old song. It's been done by a lot of people. My favorite version of this song, it's called "I'm Always Drunk in San Francisco." And by Carmen McRae, does it the best. Beautiful woman of color. What a voice. I love everything. I could listen to her all day long. Carmen McRae, "I'm always drunk in San Francisco, and I don't even drink." See, San Francisco's got a shanty on it. Like Einstein said, the most profound experience we can experience is the mystical, the mysterious. But NASA is hell-bent on conquering the universe. It's like an ant saying, "I'm going to conquer that elephant." I mean, there's intelligent people in NASA, man. They're running a racket. They're just running this racket. They're totally out of control. Their only purpose has got to be to protect us from asteroids. And they've just said, that's what they're working on now, finally. So they had this I went to high school. I have, in class of 67. The 1 year I spent on Facebook, I got more death threats, and they were all glorifying this guy, I forget somebody, Italian last name, who's been a big deal at NASA. To me, that just said, this guy's been on the gravy train, the NASA gravy train for his whole goddamn life. I want to see these people on food stamps. I want to see people on, I got off of California Medi-Cal around 10 years ago. Because I started making money doing this, and I didn't want to go to jail for Medi-Cal fraud, so I let the food stamps run out and the Medi-Cal run out, and then I got insurance, and everything's going okay now. But boy, I got better care when I was on Medi-Cal. I'll tell you. Now I don't even go to doctors anymore because my insurance is like. They walk in the door and they get $200 off you, just $150, $200, $30, $50, $75, eye doctor, all these, so I got to get to a doctor soon because I haven't had blood work done in around a year and a half, but, I don't know what I'm going to do because I don't have a doctor right now because I want a vegan doctor. I don't want anybody that's going to pollute my consciousness, but try to... Yeah, this one doctor I had, that's why I'm not going back to him, he actually thought I had syphilis. He can't believe I have a syphilitic brain, which made me think maybe that's what's wrong with Donald Trump. Has he been tested for his syphilis? I don't know. But so I'm not, it took me 9 months and all of a sudden it dawned on me, that son of a bitch, man. He just can't understand. He's so into being a pusher for the pharmaceutical collective there. When I was on Facebook, I was like a year and a half. I couldn't believe the question when I introduced myself as a psychic, and I got all over the world. It's some interesting people from Australia, and the first thing people said to me was, "What's your guy's name?" None of your effing business, man. Reminds me of that Halloween joke. On Halloween, this kid's dressed as a pirate, and he knocks on the door, and this woman says, "And what are you supposed to be?" He said, "I'm a pirate." And she goes, "Where's your buccaneers?" He said, "Under my bucking hat." So anyway, I digress there. What I was going to say. So, these people were none of your bucking business, man. It's like my personal thing with my guide, and I just said, well, my guides are so advanced, so mastered consciousness. Well, they don't even have names. That would imply they had an ego, and that sort of got them off my back. And then it's none of your business. It's a very personal thing. So my guide a couple of years ago, we were talking. And I said, what do I say when people want to ask me, just to tell you the sense of humor he has? I said, what my guide is, because he's been with me many, many lifetimes, all of them, I believe. And he said, like the move Upgrade, Upgrayedd. It's from the movie Idiocracy. Maya Rudolph is the prostitute, and she gets on this rocket that takes her into another planet with Luke Olson or somebody, and her pimp follows her because she owes him money, and his name is Upgrade. And all through the movie she goes, he says Upgrade couldn't be here, he couldn't. And she goes, you don't know Upgrade, he'll come wherever people owe him money, he'll get here. So I know Upgrade. And he's got this black cat wearing, just all pimped out in this, red fur coat, and he looks a little like Keenan, whatever his name is there. The guy goes, what's up with that? Well, anyway, it's a great movie, Idiocracy. The planet's dying because they're watering the planet. They're watering the crops are dying because they're watering the crops with Gatorade because it's got electrolytes. This is where we're going. I'm waiting for Donald Trump to start telling the water. The crops now are going to be watered with Gatorade because it's got electrolytes, So so my Upgrade. Watch the movie. So the universe is low. It's fun. It's sexy. It's not sainthood is not like hairy, itchy shirts and kneeling on dried corn. No, it's a beautiful experience, and there's a lot of saints, sinners that kept on trying, and I tell you, we're going to see a lot of that over the next 14 years because that's how long Neptune will be in Aries. And there's some things here. Let me get to. So I was saying about Dan Laurie there. Don't be like Nero and be playing a fiddle and slugging down booze, and realize these are people that are going to get heart disease, cancer. There's no such thing. I want this city to be the hub of. I couldn't believe, after all the horrible things I did to my body to escape and die with drugs and liquor and all kinds of things in the Haight-Ashbury, and that's where I got sober. That's where I got sober, on Wallace Street. That's where St. Mary's Hospital is where I detoxed. That's why I say now that, as I said, it's been 34, a long time since I've had a hangover. I forgot it. Only when I get a flu shot and I have a bad reaction to the flu vaccine do I feel, and that's not even as bad as a hangover, as bad as the dry heaves and everything. Okay, so about Mars energizes. It's about ready to go on. Went direct on February 23rd. Now, on April 17th, Mars will enter Leo, where it was back in January. And on Saturday and Sunday, April 26th, 27th, Mars will be the third of three oppositions, direct oppositions between Mars and Pluto. And I bet, I'm knocking on wood, something's going to get our attention. That's going to see what's happening. It's all about Mars, how we chop wood, carry water, how people. It wasn't before Ronald Reagan. People, middle class, had luxury time, and the creation of this country. There never was a higher class of black, white, all color, brown, Latinos. We were close to 66-70% of the population were the middle class, with one job, one person worked, luxury time, paid vacations, union rights. And then they got Ronald Reagan, because they knew, making all those GI movies, he'd do the biggest con job ever. So don't think this Donald Trump thing. It was Ronald Reagan. Well, he was evil. He's gone. Yeah, but as I said, I've heard on YouTube audio of his conversations with Dick Nixon, talking about Russian presidents of these African countries. The kids doesn't even wear shoes, man. And they, and so this whole thing now, we're waking up, because what's going on hasn't happened for 12,000 years. Oh, and April's going to be so beautiful. Okay, we live in America, so the American's birthday, the 4th of July, so that's 11. 11, 22, 33, you don't reduce them to single digit. You want to keep them elevated. Well, we'll call it 2 just to do the math. So this is our 11 year. This is our 11-2 year of revelations. When you find out the truth after you've been lied to for generations, it's normal to get angry and want to kill the messenger. Don't waste your energy. Don't spoil your karma. Chew on it and you'll know I'm right. Get some knowledge, Girl, you need some knowledge. I was at a party once, and this black girl got this white girl. I don't know what she said to her, but obviously the white girl had a lot of money. She was visiting from somewhere on the east, and the woman I was with was a sister. That was back to the time of the Pointer Sisters. That's how far back we're going, in the Haight-Ashbury. And I think I was still dating women back then, off and on. I wasn't really, really, really comfortable with being gay until well, that's another story. So anyway, and all of a sudden I was somewhere and I heard this black girl say, "Girl, you need some knowledge." And I said, "Oh, I better get her out of here." So anyway, it's funny how things come back. Okay, direct recognition of one's own nature, not remaining in doubt, and continuing with confidence. If you're going to doubt anything, doubt your own limits. James Baldwin said, "Ignorance allied with power is the most ferocious enemy justice could have. You know, they said, I think it was the founders of our country, Thomas Jefferson, said, we can have a handful of millionaires or we can have a democracy. The worst thing that ever happened, democracy ended when a few years ago, it was in 2011, when this book came out, and that's when the Supreme Court that gave it the name Citizens United. Man, that's like salt. That's like putting salt and twisting the knife and putting salt on the open wound. Not only did it destroy democracy, but they had to give it that name. That insulting our intelligence on top of it. Shh. God have mercy. John Steinbeck said, war is a symptom of man's failure as a thinking animal. Well, getting back to alcohol, and our Dan Laurie seems to be lost now into the grips of that overgrown juvenile delinquent wiener. Hopefully he'll come to his senses. I'm not a fool. I know alcohol is here to stay, but I'm saying make San Francisco a place where there could be a center for alternative healing. I could spend an hour mentioning all the healers now. I'm in touch with them all psychically. I don't see them physically. I used to run into them, but see, it's divide and conquer. That was London Breed's whole thing now. See, I know we need money. The city needs money, and it could have all happened way back when 2015 passed, and a few years later, London Breed stacked that federal building room with all these guys, these mostly women, whose minds were made up. Because in London Breed's mind, marijuana is a gateway drug, but there were doctors and scientists there. People have healed from hideous addictions like heroin and all kinds of things with the help of cannabis. Cigarette smoking. I smoke cannabis like a chimney and my lungs are in perfect shape. It's an herb, man. It's a flower. It's mystical. Doctors can't stand it now. That's why I don't go to the doctor I saw for the last 30 years, because it's really pissing him off. He reads my blood results and he's like, He's like resentful. Well, I'm not going to die for no white man, especially you asshole. War is a symptom of man's failure as a thinking animal. Emerson, there are many things of which wise men might wish to be ignorant. Originality only happens on the edge of reality. That's what we need now. We need this Aries originality. Go to this Stephen Rehnquist, and go through his thing on Neptune and Aries through the 12 signs. And you can even see, if you stroll above that, you could go from Aries to Aquarius. But for everybody now, it's doing a purification now. As everything's Pisces until the end of the month now, do this purification. If you're a real heavy drinker and have been lying to your doctor about how much you drink, don't just quit. Tell people you're going to quit, because you might have a grand mal seizure or might die. Because I lied about my drinking until I couldn't lie about it anymore. People would just laugh in my face. But the fact, because it was that out of control. Alcoholism is insidious. It's insidious. It's one day at a time, man. Even though I'm sure I'll never, I avoid. I don't do readings at parties anymore because I can't be around this shit. I don't want to see somebody drunk in front of me. Alcohol is a toxic active and dependence-producing substance, and has been classified as a Group 1 carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer decades ago. This is the highest risk group, in which also includes asbestos, radiation, and tobacco. So alcohol is right there, Alcohol causes the last 7 types of cancer, including the most common cancers such as bowel cancer, feminine breast cancer. The risk of developing increases substantially the more alcohol is consumed. And there was never one drink. I drink for obliviation there. The risks and harm associated with drinking alcohol have been systematically evaluated over the years. Well documented by the World Health Organization has now published statements that the Lancet Public Health, when it comes to alcohol consumption, there is no safe amount, does not affect our health. horribly, I might add. It's a dissolver. See, that's what's going to happen now. Neptune's going to dissolve all this stuff. All you have to do is work with it. You could learn astrology. Excuse me. I've lost total track of time. I want to get to a few more things here about Camus. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Life goes on, but at least you're mindful now. Every time you these things that happen, that you just be aware that's mindfulness. Here, I'll just go through a few of these things. I forget about Camus. Jesus was a pacifist. Self-pity is easily the most destructive of the non-pharmaceutical narcotics. It's addictive, gives momentary pleasure, and separates the victim from reality. So get off the pity pot. The cost of living is going up, and the chance of living is going down. Don't be brain dead, be life present. Winston Churchill said, an appeaser is one who feeds a crocodile hoping it will not eat them. What they're talking about the Middle East, about Russia and Ukraine, the Ukraine. Yeah, and they were talking about an obnoxious peace, which I've been talking about in this book called Healing Resistance by Kazuhaga. A radically different response to harm, about the training of nonviolence legacy of Dr. King, forwarded by and he says right here that what they talk about, peace is not merely the absence of tension or war, but the presence of justice, because they talk about this was Abernathy back then with him. In Tulsa, Alabama, there was this first time they're integrating a school. That was back in 1956, February 3rd. A court battle lasted 3 years. A woman named Autherine Lucy became the first black student to attend the classes at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Within days of her arrival, riots broke out on the campus. People threw stones at the university's president's home. Crosses were burned. A mob of more than 1,000 people surrounded the car she was traveling in, and rioters climbed on top of it and began jumping. I was alive back then. I was living in New York, and I was in high school, I think. In response to this violence, the University of Alabama suspended and ultimately expelled Lucy from campus. They claimed that her presence was causing a threat to the safety of the school. The following day, because Lucy was no longer allowed on campus, riots stopped. The local newspaper ran a headline that read, things are quiet in Tuscaloosa today. There is peace on the campus with the University of Alabama. There is peace. What kind of peace is the paper talking about? Peace for whom and at what cost? On March 18th, just 1 month later, Dr. King gave a sermon in response to the incident titled, When Peace Becomes Obnoxious. In the sermon, Dr. King said the peace the newspaper described was not real peace. He said that this, quote unquote, the type of peace that all men of goodwill hate, the type of peace that is obnoxious, it's the type of peace that stinks in the nostril of the Almighty God. Dr. King said that. Strong words from the man who would go on to win the Nobel Peace Prize. When Dr. King spoke of a peace boiled down to stagnant complexity and deadening passivity, he was talking about what educator John Guttag called negative peace, a peace that describes the absence of tension that comes at the expense of justice. Dr. King went on to say that peace is not merely the absence of tension, but the presence of justice. No, it's just us now. That's why there's no government, no agency that's going to get us out of the mess we're in now. It's going to be we the people. We the people. So, let's get on it now. Okay, get rid of the American Taliban, the evangelical Christians, man. Jesus was a pacifist, probably bisexual. Yeah, I wanted to get... Neptune's all about surrendering. Like when I surrendered to alcohol, it kicked my ass. And I'd go, I think it was what's his name? He was a good Fast Times, Ridgemont High. He married Madonna. He said he admired the endurance that alcohols have. Yeah, the endurance. Alcohol will literally kick the living poop out of them, put them in bed for a week, and then they go right back in the ring. It's insidious. And it's so grateful. It's like been 4 decades practically. I'm away from that. The only true aristocracy is that of consciousness. Yeah, NASA needs to know. Go as far as you can see. When you get there, you can see further, but don't go there. I think what's going to happen is there'll be extraterrestrial higher. They haven't contacted us yet, but I believe through psychic intervention, reconnecting to our galactic heritage is a huge theme. That's what's going on now since 2020, and it's not going to go away. What's going to happen is, because I'm probably running out of time, it's going to be 2026, and by 2027 we'll have the new paradigm in set. But until then, we got to learn mindfulness. And then, before I close here, and we'll talk more about Camus next time I'm here. Okay, he says, please note the last point. In mindfulness, one watches the universe within. The meditator who is developing mindfulness is not concerned with the external universe. It is there, but in meditation, one's field study is one's own experience, one's thoughts, one's feelings, one's perceptions. In meditation, one is one's own laboratory. In the universe, they can't take that away from me. The universe within has an enormous fund of information containing the reflection of the external world as much more. People are literally going through a physical metamorphosis, like a metamorphosis where a caterpillar turns into a butterfly or a moth. And moths in the fabric of society right now is what we need, because society has been bad. It's been horrible. Mindfulness is participatory observation. The meditator is both participant and observer at one and the same. I like what he says on chapter 15, walking meditation. That's why I always get in trouble when I pass that little park on my way to Rainbow Grocery, because I'm in a meditative state, because I'm mindful of every second while I'm doing this walk. And then when I get to this little park and I'm just like a block away from where I'm going, and it's like, oh, I gotta just stay there for a second, and then like time is just times makes lovers feel like they got something real, huh? Well, rocket shot, moonshots. I had this whole thing out here. I wanted to read you about what was going on in '68 when those men landed on the moon. And they wanted us, like Einstein said, we have no right going out anywhere except taking care of what's going on here. We could have healed so much disease, hunger, poverty on this planet with the billions and billions of dollars we've been pissing in, NASA's been pissing away, and the tearing holes in the ozone. Question everything. The very bad folks really get upset when you do that. Technological progress is like an axe in the hands of a pathological criminal. And that's what's happening now. We've got a technological presidency now. I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have, Einstein said, I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction, period. The world will have a generation of idiots. It has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. Briefly, consciousness defines our thoughts, actions, and awareness. Subconscious is defined as a reaction and actions we realize when we think of it. Unconsciousness is defined as the deep recesses of our past memories. It's time now. Remember now, when you're doing any kind of a purification, whether it's your mind, like I say, a snake doesn't shed its skin, it dies. And while you're reconditioning your mind, you might want to be aware you're not throwing out the best part of yourself. When you're going through this, like the best part of myself has been my lifelong, since I was, 12, 13, my love of cannabis. I knew when I grew up fast in New York, but I knew my first I said, what's all that fuss about this? It's colors. I mean, I'm in it for the colors, man, especially since I had cataract surgery. Everything is so much more beautiful. Okay, I'm going to end with this, and if I ran over my time, they'll just cut me off. Gandhi said, many people, especially ignorant people, will want to punish you for speaking the truth, for being correct, for being you. Never apologize for being correct or for being way ahead of your time. If you're right, you know it. Speak your mind, even if you're a minority of one. The truth is still the truth. Feelings are much like waves. We can't stop them from coming, but we can choose which ones to surf. Believe in yourself and all that you are, knowing there is something inside of you that is greater than any obstacle. Okay, and it says briefly, while Los Angeles district, what was going on was just outside NASA's Mission Control, what was then known as Manned Space Center. The protesters involved 75 African Americans. They built a mock Apollo thing. 13 astronauts as sheriff officers escorted the protesters. Yeah, while in Los Angeles, the residents of Detroit, Newark, and Los Angeles, hundreds of other cities across America took to the streets to protest pollution and unhealthy living conditions in American cities, and perhaps NASA's role in exasperating them. Less militant civil rights leaders such as Ralph Abernathy began consciously employing tried and true civil rights strategies during the 50s and early 1960s to publicly critique the space race in the late 60s. For instance, even before Abernathy, Poor People campaign had packed up mules and left Cape Canaveral, other civil rights leaders had organized a sit-in not at a Woolworths counter but at Greensboro, North Carolina, but rather underneath the full-size mock-up of the Apollo lunar landing module. We've been brainwashed. NASA, Hollywood, Tom Hanks now. Katie, what's her name in the morning with Consuela there? Katie Perry, what's her name? I can't remember her name. The skinny girl. Regis Philbin and Kelly Ripa. Yeah, she's, I want to go. A princess like you would never last. You would die in outer space, Kelly. You're a princess. Don't be ashamed of that. I'm a recovering Long Island princess. What does a Long Island princess make for dinner? Reservations. So, as I said, all these pampered people think it's glamorous. They'll never colonize. They're never going to colonize. It's just this major con job. And thank God I've lived this long that now we're going to see it all happen. It's all changing. So that's why I'm going to stick around for a long time. Longer, at least until I'm 98. Okay, so all this stuff now happening with all this Aries energy now. Oh boy, it's all in all this in his 8th house of sex, death, other people's money. It's not imposing anything, but it's forming a really sweet aspect to his Mercury in place in this community, his standing in society. Okay, well, I imagine I've been here around an hour. I don't want to overstay my stay here. I ended up finding pretty much everything I came in to find, and I'll be back. As I said, the 1st and the 3rd. Oh yeah, here's a good one. Faith is the condition of ultimate confidence that we have the capacity to follow the path of doubt to its end. And courage is the strength needed to be true to ourselves under the conditions. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't do the cards for you. Oh, I know. Everybody loves the cards, and I didn't do the cards. Okay, I'll pick a card for you. It might not get added because I think I spent too much time. Okay, here's where we are now. Okay, let's see what I got for you guys. Okay, let's see what I got. Okay, one. Okay, we're loving ourselves now. Okay, information's coming in. Okay, we're teachable. We don't wake up every morning, be teachable. Most people, like this doctor, I don't see anymore. He knows it all. Oh yeah, he's got the money now. He's got the power. He's been doing this. He got his whole thrust to his career, the AIDS epidemic. So when it's still around, but this is an example of me. I see so many people achieve some kind of success and just turn into real sons of bitches. But I've already been a son of a bitch. I don't want to do it anymore. This is what we're fearing now. We're afraid of love. Isn't that ridiculous? What's going on for us is just what's going on now stirs up a lot and goes away just as fast as it came along, and we're going to realize, God, we nipped that in the bud. Well, I'm saying it's going to be a good year or so. We're going to start feeling this the summer of a year from this summer. This is what is against us, and this is the final act. We're got this devil card here. So I got a book right here that has a good, healthy definition of that card. Where is it? I just had that book right here. Oh, here it is. Okay, the devil card is right here, the 16th, the 15th card of the tarot deck. Here we go, the devil card. The devil teaches us to find where we are limiting ourselves and to break free. Our greatest barriers often come from within. Fear, shame, and regret all seep into our beliefs about ourselves and our abilities to keep us from reaching our full potential. When we choose to live under the weight of self-suppression, or we can wrestle control from the devils of our own making and take our power back. Playing the victim, helplessness can be seductive. It absolves us of responsibility and allows us to blame others for our difficulties. The devil alerts us to areas we have power over that we are not exercising. This does not mean that our lives are free from actual limits or even oppression. It means that we do everything we can to live life to the fullest in spite of them. That's what Camus says. I was looking for. He says what you can do under when people take under a repressed society is go out of your way to live as freely and as rebellious as you can. So please join me, and let's because it's us now. We the people have got to get out there and fight for our freedom. That's all there is to it. So I was told when I started the show that the off-on equipment thing here, the whole panel's gone. So when I leave, Juvan will come in and I'm out of here. It's been a joy and a pleasure. Everybody, I love you. Thanks for the love and support. Oh, Gabby sends her love, my parent. I gave her a kiss on the way out, and I said, give me a kiss. Oh, yeah, this is, if anybody noticed this guy named Turquoise. He's an amazing guy, and he gave this to me. I did a reading for him, and he had no money, but he makes these things. And he said, "What's your favorite animal?" And I said, "Oh, the owl." And he gave this to me, and I said, "Wow, look at this! This is beautiful." I said, "How do you do this?" And I said, "You're so gifted." He said, "I just count." I love you.